Hello, good folks. It's been a few weeks, but I'm back with another review of an episode of the 2002 television series Firefly. Today I will be talking about the episode titled Out of Gas. In case you haven't seen the episode, I will be summing it up really quickly before I get into the nitty-gritty of my thoughts. Be warned, there are spoilers here. The episode goes through 3 separate time frames. We see flashbacks showing how everyone who was on the ship at the beginning of the series got on the ship. Then we see flashbacks showing how the ship got in the frankly horrible mess that it is in when the episode starts. And then we are getting quick flashes of stuff in the present day as Mal attempts to fix everything that has gone wrong. Ordinarily, if someone attempted to tell one story with 3 distinct time periods, I would say that would be a risky maneuver and could easily get confusing for the audiences and difficult to handle for the writer. But showrunner Joss Whedon and co-creator Tim Minear make this work. We don't have too much going on in any one of the timelines. If this was a novel, you might have a lengthy episode going on in one of the timelines, and then by the time you jump to the next one, you've forgotten that you've got multiple timelines happening in one story. Or, to keep things in the realm of television, if this had been some other television show, I would be afraid we wouldn't get nearly enough information in one timeline, or we would get too much in another, to the point where we're bored and we want to jump back to one of the other timelines. Another thing I quite liked about this episode is that it jumps back to the idea of combining multiple subgenres into this world. I've talked about this a little bit in the past, but what's basically going on here is that while this world is a science fiction type of reality, we've also got other genres bleeding in every once in a while. And when that happens, that often lends new stories to be told. While this series only lasted 14 episodes, a movie, and a handful of graphic novels, so longevity in hindsight isn't necessarily something to consider, it is a good lesson to take away from this series. If a storyteller doesn't know what to do for an episode, you can draw influences from a duel that you might see in a Jane Austen novel, like the episode Shindig. The episode Ariel is largely reminiscent of any old heist story, at least at first. And this episode, as per the commentary found on the DVD, is influenced by a story where the submarine is running out of air. These influences from other genres don't subtract from the overall science fiction faux past futuristic effect that this series is going for. If anything, I feel like they add to the atmosphere. Maybe I'm alone there, but I quite like it. Not just here, but in any series that is not set in the air quotes real world, it can be a lot of fun to see influences from other genres to help us get a clear idea of the kind of world we are looking at here. This episode isn't so much one that features a character going through a character arc, if I'm being honest. We get to see a character at some different moments in his life, and that informs the way he is acting when he and his crew are near death. But I'm not sure if we have something like we did in the episode Shindig, where I feel like both Mal and Inara learned a lesson on that day, and learned a little bit more about each other. At the beginning of the episode, when Mal and Zoe are inspecting the ship, we see that the ship isn't just a vehicle to Mal. It represents freedom from what he perceives are the evils that he fought against. And so we get to see just why saving the ship is so important to Mal in the present day. And sure, Mal says that the reason he's not getting on one of the shuttles is because there's only room for 4 people on each one, so he does the noble thing and lets everyone else prolong their safety. But I kinda get the feeling that if there were only 3 people on one of the shuttles, Mal would still prefer to go down with his ship rather than live without it. While I'm not sure that this episode gives us a conventional character arc for Mal, it does show us just how extreme his feelings are for the Alliance, even though they don't even feature in this episode at all. I really do enjoy most of the flashbacks showing how the crew came to Serenity. They're all really good at helping to establish Mal's relationship with the ship, but they're also astounding at giving us the humor, as this episode has very little humor outside of these flashbacks. The one flashback that doesn't do it for me is the one with Inara. I've said this before, but most of the scenes with Mal and Inara in this series just don't click with me, because we never do get to see the payoff for that relationship. But everything else is solid gold. The hiring of Wash, how Mal first met Kaylee, the circumstances of how Mal and Zoe first met Jane, they all feel so very right for this series and for each of those characters. Overall, I enjoyed this episode a great deal. I didn't really realize how much I liked it until I rewatched it for this review. I'm hesitant to say that it's one of the best episodes, just in case there's one that I haven't reviewed yet that I like even more. But so far, I'm thinking this is one of the best episodes I've reviewed so far. It's a solid character study of Mal, and it is entertaining while not bordering on farce. I do hope that this episode proved informative and enjoyable for you guys, and if you did like it, I hope that you will click that like button, as well as share, comment, and subscribe. I will see you guys tomorrow with a different kind of video. Until then, I'll catch you later.